Well, Dave, I don't know about you, but that was an exciting moment for me to see the president back in the chamber for his fifth time, giving his fifth address. To me, that was just a shocking moment in time because no one ever thought that he would be back in any way, shape, or form. What are your thoughts on the moment there, Dave?
Yeah, wow. You talk about a seminal moment. If you can flash back, 12 months ago, 8 months ago, I had a lot of doubts that we'd ever see that. One of the other kind of unreal kind of moments was when the Secretary of State had to certify the election, and
Yeah.
which was Pelosi, right before
Yes, it
the
was.
changeover. So she had to say, she had to give him complete legitimacy, and then to see him introduced and come back in there after all that he'd been through. Court cases left and right, going to jail, getting shot at and hit, another assassination attempt, and who knows what else.
Right.
It was very rewarding. So yeah, I almost chills.
Well, what we're going to do today, Dave, is we're going to run through some of the more famous quotes, some of the more famous moments during the speech, and
Okay.
we'll just go ahead and comment on that. And let's go ahead and run one right now.
Of the United States Congress, thank you very much. And to my fellow citizens, America is back.
You know, Dave, that picture right there with let me see if I can pull it up and leave it up on the
with
screen
with,
there.
with the arms
6 weeks
raised,
ago,
and
That
yes,
right there,
that
Dave,
right.
with JD Vance and Mike Johnson. I just can't tell you how exciting I am just to see that right there.
Well,
I'm
and the freeze frame of whoever that is, I don't know, but obviously one of the
Yes, one
uh,
of the senators, yeah.
yeah, just in enthusiastic exuberance. I thought it was the perfect line to start the speech. And let me tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, members of Congress, he does the typical protocol.
Right.
What was actually the most important is what he didn't say there, which is, "Hey, rest of the world, America is back,"
Yeah.
because that's a lot of who this speech was for.
Yes.
Letting them know we will not be pushed around anymore. China, Russia, Iran, any you name it. Who's taken advantage of the weakness that inhabited the office for the last 4 years. He served notice, and I loved it.
Yeah. Right off the top, the most impressive thing to me is I'm not looking at Nancy Pelosi's face behind him.
Yeah,
To
my
me, that
gosh.
you know, what an upgrade that is, just that alone. And, the fact that America is back, and I don't think people really understand what that really means, Dave. I really don't think they understand that, because if they did, how could they not be in favor of what is happening right now? We
Hmm.
have we have to rip the Band-Aid off, because we're never gonna heal,
Yeah.
and, we're never gonna get together, and Trump is just right there. America's back, just to me means we're ripping the Band-Aid off. It's gonna hurt for a little while, but in the end, it's gonna be a whole lot better. No more kicking the can down the road.
Nope. Exactly. Yeah. 37 trillion in debt, and that that is not a partisan problem. Getting out of debt is not a partisan solution. It's something that a business needs to do if they're operating like that. Um,
Exactly.
so and I'm quite pleasantly surprised by the pace at which he's gone about uh, changes in
Yeah,
the first 30 days.
yeah. I think the most amazing bit is gonna be a line that he's gonna say in a little bit here. We'll hear it coming
Okay.
up here, but that just sums up exactly what you just said. Let's go ahead and move to the next frame
Okay.
here and see what the deal is here.
6 weeks ago, I stood beneath the dome of this Capitol and proclaimed the dawn of the golden age of America. From that moment on, it has been nothing but swift and unrelenting action to usher in the greatest and most successful era in the history of our country. We have accomplished more in 43 days than most administrations accomplished in 4 years or 8 years, and we are just getting started.
I tell you, when he talks about swift and unrelenting, man, I'm
Hmm.
telling you,
Yeah.
that's exactly what it is. if you're a follower of Dan Bongino, he talks about the rock'em sock'em robot kind of approach where you just keep you just keep punching, every day another,
Mhm.
and they just overwhelming the system.
And it's been particularly effective to see things that don't need legislation. So, do you remember what the Democrats used to say all of Biden's term was that the Republicans about the border, the
Yes,
Republicans, they don't really want to solve it. They just want it as an issue, or else they pass legislation. Well, guess what? Like Tom Homan said, and all the Border Patrol higher ups, hey, we didn't need legislation, we just needed a president that would let us do our jobs.
right.
So it's the Democrats who are completely lying, saying we have to pass a new law, which there would have been tons of pork attached to it, and we would have had to buy a thousand new electric cars for Helsinki, and we would senators be getting kickbacks left and right. No, we needed a president to say, do your job. Now, border encounters are at record lows,
Correct.
and that all happened without having to go through lengthy legislation that would have been quite faulty, in my opinion.
The laws are on the books.
Yes, they are.
Just enforce them. Spend your resources appropriately, and we wouldn't have had 20 million people come over the border in the last 4 years. And I don't I don't get how they can get away with lying, and then when the truth comes out, it's like it's like the guy from the best little whorehouse in Texas. He just moves to the next thing.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just one of those things. They flat out lied about it, and they knew they were lying, but
yeah, and
they thought they can get away with it, and then the truth comes out, and they don't even want to mention it. They go someplace else.
well, and they thought they could get away with it because they always had, because the media was completely in their back pocket. Now, um, they still are. The difference
Sure.
is nobody's listening to the mainstream media.
Exactly.
So we
Exactly.
had this incredible shift in the last, really, it's taken place over 10 years, but it really accelerated as the truth had to be spread underground,
Correct.
right? And now mainstream media has been relegated largely to unimportance for people that are searching for the real story.
Sure, sure. The best part about that, I agree with everything you just said, but the best part about that is they don't know how to fight back.
Mhm.
They're getting crushed, and they don't know what to do. They've always had a plan. They've always stuck to the plan. It's the same playbook they've been running since the Clintons were in office, but it just isn't working anymore. For me to see them just fumble around is just fantastic.
Yeah. Well, they way overplayed their hand when they were in power. They acted like power would never swing back around. Now,
Right.
they did have plans like assassinations and imprisonments and stuff, but now what you're seeing is, oh crap, that didn't work. And there's a fight for control within the Democrat Party of the absolute progressive crazies that a party that 10 years ago, that Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, all of the leaders over the last couple decades, are on video saying over and over again things like, we're the party that supports women's rights. Well, now they're the party that not a single person will vote to keep men out of women's sports. And now we're in a situation where all the best female athletes are male. Um, Also, they can't define what a woman is.
Right.
So it's shifted as they had to embrace that everything. It's so silly. It's like they're chanting, Trump is Hitler, and then they'll turn around 5 seconds later, say death to Israel from the river to the sea. It's like they don't realize how they tried to embrace every position for votes and power, and they completely lost any common sense and logical approach. And the American people vastly woke up to that.
Yeah, totally. There, there's 2 points I'd like to make real quick here. One is it's amazing to me how they think in silos. Every everything is an issue. They don't look at the global landscape and understand how everything fits. You're exactly right. How can they call him Hitler and then call for the extinction of Jews?
Mhm.
Because they think in a silo. They don't think of they really don't. They have positions. They don't have an understanding. You know,
Right.
and the other thing that has always bothered me about liberals is if you take any of their positions to the logical conclusion, it makes no sense. Regardless of the issue, you just take it to its logical end, and it makes no sense. The biggest one is abortion. You know, when they talk about abortion, if you take it to its logical end, which is, you can abort a fetus after it's been born,
Yeah.
what, age 2, 3, 4, what are we talking here? There's
Yeah.
got to be some limits set. They don't set any limits, and that's why they're always in trouble.
Well, and you take your average Joe off the street and you're maybe very non-political or just partially political, but start telling him that, hey, it's okay that this man is going in the bathroom with his 7-year-old daughter while this guy's standing outside to keep watch over the door because he wouldn't dare go in there because of how inappropriate that is. You've
Right.
lost a ton of people when you see people knocking women out that are biologically male.
Yes.
You've lost a ton of people, and
Yeah.
I think it's beautiful. In fact, I'm hoping the Democrats just double and triple down on their insanity. And I'm making an effort now myself to not say liberal. I'm saying progressives which is ironically, well, they are progressing into the insane. But
Yes.
your classical liberal championed free speech. I may disagree with what you say, but I'll die for your right to say it. That they are no longer like that at all.
No.
If they want to label something hate speech, they have no problem rounding you up and putting you in jail. They believed, they championed the First Amendment. They championed uh, civil rights. They championed a lot of stuff that now the left is happy to trample on. So, in fact, the new coalition Trump built has largely been the classically liberal who retained the ability of critical thinking meshed with conservatives who said, look, we can disagree on some minutia later. Right now, we agree that there is full-on censorship that we got to fight, or whoever gets control, we may never be allowed to express our opinion again. And that happened across the spectrum with Joe Rogan, Jimmy Dore, Tucker
Yes.
Carlson and his evolution, and it spread like wildfire. They became the party of the cool, the hip, the talking back to the establishment, the
Yeah.
anti-establishment. Speak truth to power, and the Democrats embraced this. Our party heads are Nancy Pelosi and Bernie Sanders and Maxine Waters and a bunch of people that are 80 years old
Yeah.
and couldn't find their way to Coolville with 9 chauffeurs and a map.
Exactly. Hey, let's go ahead and check out this next piece
Yeah.
here. See what the pres has to say.
We've ended weaponized government where, as an example, a sitting president is allowed to viciously prosecute his political opponent, like me. How did that work out? Not too good. Not too good.
Not too good. Yeah, go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, anyone like I have friends that are fairly middle of the road and even maybe a little bit liberal, but the ones that had looked under the surface of some of the stuff he was charged with, where they had to retroactively change the statute of limitations and extrapolate a felony from a local crime and jump through hoops to create these charges that none of them could explain, to where you even had the Cuomo's saying he never should have been prosecuted in New York and that would have never happened if it wasn't Donald Trump. Yeah, what kind of insane world are we living in where he is being accused of defrauding the banks because he overvalued Mar-a-Lago, which was a complete normal process of that real estate procedure where you submit your value. Of course, the banks have their appraisers and evaluate the value. And one after one, the lenders came in and said, he never missed a payment. We used to fight over him as a client. And they're putting him in jail for defrauding someone. Like
Yeah.
it's utter insanity. But the TDS, the Trump derangement syndrome, makes them lose their mind. And it's beautiful to see. And I hope they keep doing it because they have wrestled control of that party right now. And well, I mean, look, you have a party where the previous when Biden was first running, Tulsi Gabbard was also running to be the Democrat nominee.
Mhm.
Now she works for Trump in the Trump camp. You have Kennedy, RFK Jr., who will tell anyone that listens, hey, we've been fighting for a lot of these things Trump has been saying for 30 years. And as soon as he says, yeah, let's do that, that makes sense. You jump ship because his name is Trump and run away screaming. So they're losing the moderates. They're losing the people that have critical thinking. And I think I'll end this on what RFK said is we have to love our children more than we hate our political opponent. And he has been the biggest inspiration to me in all of this, in willing to totally risk his status, his Hollywood celebrity friends and family members to just actually do something good for the country, and saying, Trump and I don't agree on anything, but on this issue we agree, and he's given me a voice that no one else would.
Exactly. Totally agree with you. Well, in the court cases that you were talking about, Dave, I mean, it's the banks must have had like Stockholm syndrome. I mean, please abuse us more, borrow more money, pay us back with interest, abuse me more, please. It's craziness. It's craziness. And then the one that he got convicted on, they call it a felony. They try to make it sound like he killed somebody.
I know.
His accountant did a paperwork error. He
34
even did the error.
34 felonies.
34,
But he is the first politician to ever pay someone to keep quiet about a potential affair. Bill Clinton, Barack Obama.
Not to mention all of Congress, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. They they literally have a fund that they all contribute to pay off people that accuse them.
Yes, they do.
Yes, they do.
No doubt. But I think you bring up another point that what Trump has done is the most common sense thing anyone running for the top job in this country could possibly do. He has taken every issue that is popular with the people and run on those issues, regardless of where they come from. That's how you can get a Kennedy in your cabinet.
That's very well put. Very well said. Yeah.
Because he's taken the issue of healthy kids, healthy America. And one of the most prominent people who have sued all of the major brands, all of the major farmers, all of the major big ags, and they put him in charge. Doesn't matter what his background is. This is his job, and he's going to do it well, even though he's a Democrat, even though he comes from the longest line of Democrat in history.
Royalty.
Exactly. And it doesn't matter that they disagree on abortion. It doesn't matter that they disagree on this, or it doesn't matter that they disagree on that. What matters is he's got a job to do. It's business. It's just business.
Yeah, that's so well put. Trump is a businessman, and do you think that every building that he got built, every hotel, every building that he got exactly what he wanted from the Teamsters, from the cement guys, no, but at the end of the day, it's about compromise and getting something accomplished and built. And it takes that approach now in our government, because all we would do would be argue about things, pass a bill that did nothing, and eventually never kicked in, like the billions of dollars to bring Wi-Fi to remote areas. Not one person was ever connected.
No, the biggest sham is I think it's like $36 billion is spent in California to put out a super high-speed train from San Francisco, excuse me, all the way back to LA. Not a stitch of track has been laid in 16 years.
No, it's all. Well, let's commission the commission for the environmental study. Let's establish the commission of citizen response. So what you get is it is just a slush fund and money laundering, where it's like, let's pay this person, they open an office, they get a staff, they get staff. That's all, and that's the big cat's out of the bag. That's what our country's been doing for decades, is just taking in trillions in tax money and misappropriating it to all their buddies. One of the things I want to say about Tulsi was, and I'm not sure about this. You probably know, and maybe you can correct me, but for someone who, and I said when she was a Democrat, I said, you know what, I would love to see a Republican like run her for VP. I said the camera loves her. She's super articulate and well spoken. She's a veteran of the armed services. She's sincere. Well, you had someone that was, she destroyed Kamala Harris in the Democrat debate.
Yes.
And you had someone that was running for president as a Democrat, and then a few years later none of them can vote for her confirmation for a simple cabinet post where she had unquestioned integrity and they all loved her before. So it is just this game of, for the Democrats, what's the letter before your name? We vote against that. We don't
Exactly.
care about truth or logic or anything. It's just, let's keep power under our initial.
Just another a little trivia question for you. Who had more votes in the primary 4 years ago? Tulsi Gabbard or Kamala Harris?
I bet it was Gabbard.
Yes, it was
Yeah.
because Kamala Harris never made it to any of the
because
primaries.
because everything is bigger than zero.
Yes.
Yeah.
All things are bigger than zero. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and check out this next clip here.
The media and our friends in the Democrat Party kept saying we needed new legislation. We must have legislation to secure the border. But it turned out that all we really needed was a new president.
Dave,
Yeah.
Dave, that is the mic drop moment.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
he could have just walked off the stage and just and said, "Love you, but I got to go," because he nailed the Democrats like you wouldn't believe. That was exposing the lie we were talking about earlier. It didn't take law, and they're still talking. AOC is still on TV about a week and a half ago talking about how, well, if we would have just passed that law,
Yeah.
we would have had and the Democrats got a phone call from Trump. Well, no, the actual point is just what we were talking about before. All the laws are on the books. All we had to do was enforce them.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And so this utter insanity of, that can only come from being in your ivory tower, completely detached from the people, to where it's not troubling to you that there are inner city African Americans that, oh, now I need childcare for my kid because they just closed their school because now they're going to house migrants in them, give them a $10,000 debit card and pay their rent for free. And you don't think that's going to come back on you? And you saw these town halls and city council meetings erupt across the country with your typical Democrat loyalist, especially as it pertains to African American inner city people that said, wait a minute, this is BS. This is not fair. We're getting the shaft. We're American citizens, and you're way prioritizing them over us. And the Democrat leadership was so detached from reality that they can't understand the power that has to create a groundswell movement,
Yeah,
grassroots movement.
without a doubt. I don't know if you paid any attention to some of the hottest controversial town halls were out of Chicago, out of the city of Chicago.
Yes.
That was
Mm-hmm.
just craziness. I mean, absolute craziness. And now, as a result of Anna Polona Luna's action, she is sending criminal referrals on 4 of the mayors. They had 4 sanctuary city mayors in a congressional hearing just this week, and she is sending those 4 mayors up for investigation based on the fact that they are sanctuary city. I can't believe that they're spending so much ungodly amount of money
Well,
on
yeah,
the immigrant population.
billions and billions,
Yes,
and
unbelievable.
as well, she should refer them
Yes,
for that. Just billions and billions. Uh, it boggles the mind. Just like you were saying, follow it to its logical conclusion. Get together and chant, no one's above the law. No one's above the law. We're a sanctuary city. What does that mean? We don't follow federal law.
right, exactly.
Like in the same breath, no one's above the law. Also, we refuse to follow federal law.
Right. And they don't. How do you not see that?
Yeah.
I don't know. How do you not see that?
Well, and
But
look, this has nothing to do about compassion. And I have friends that came here illegally that are now citizens. I have friends that came here that are illegal that are now documented. They are largely livid at the previous administration
yes,
for giving people that took none of the trouble that they did to
yes,
do it properly way more help than. In fact, one of them told me a couple weeks ago. She said, as soon as I became a citizen, all the help dried up. And she's like, and that's fine. I want to work. I want to make my way. But she's like, you wouldn't believe how much money and services and stuff you get if you work the system. And one of her other sayings, and it's in Spanish, but she says, uh, uh, whoever doesn't work in this country doesn't want to work because there's jobs.
yes. Agreed, 100%. that was the calculus that they applied back in 2016 when Trump was first running for president. They, of course, smeared him as a racist, but the calculus in Florida was that since they were bringing all these illegal folks in, that the highly Hispanic population in Florida would vote blue, which
Hmm.
wasn't the case
Was not the
because
case.
because because of just what you just said is a lot of those people came over, they suffered, they went through the process, and they came out the other side citizens. And they
Mhm.
want everybody to do the same. And that's been the problem with the Democrats. That they talk about the replacement theory, so to speak,
Yeah.
where they try to bring in as many as possible. But those days are over. We're enforcing
Hmm.
the law. It's the least trickle of immigrants sliding into this country over the southern border in the history of all it took was a new president.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what's the next clip? You got me fired up.
All right, here we go.
For an incredible future, because the golden age of America has only just begun. It will be like nothing that has ever been seen before. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
Golden age, Dave. What do you think the golden age is?
A vast coalition coming together, fighting back against decades old tropes and useless bureaucracy to actually get things done. A friend of mine told me a few weeks ago, he said, I think this presidency has the potential to be truly transformational, like almost none in history have. That I was very disappointed when he was, well, when supposedly he didn't win in 2020.
Yeah,
We it, it was such a blessing in hindsight because he was
totally.
able to purge the swamp that had infiltrated his own party, and we would have never gotten this effective of leadership with this effective of action and boldness of action for someone who now just doesn't care and realizes you can't play by their rules because they'll change them all the time and is just going to do what he thinks is right and knows how to delegate to people. I love the fact that when Tulsi and RFK endorsed him, he did not turn his back on them. Both of them got not cabinet positions, but positions in the administration with
Yep.
his full support. He has truly built the coalition of the future, and the Democrats have their head in the sand and can't see it. And the longer they do, the worse it is for them.
I do want to talk a little bit about what we saw from the other side of the aisle the whole night. Everything that Trump said, the right side of the aisle was up, clapping, enjoying, and the left side of the aisle couldn't. They are so lockstep
Mhm.
and they couldn't stand and clap for a young kid who had cancer, whose lifelong dream was to be some type of public servant in the security area, police,
Yeah.
whatever. And they made him an honorary Secret Service member. They couldn't even clap for that. And so it's just, to me, that's their problem, and that's what Trump has been able to do. Is, again, he's just taking things that are popular and favorable and push those things. It's no more a party right and left. You don't the problem that we had before was the Democrats were in lockstep and some of the Republicans were squishy. And so we really didn't even have a two-party system. We had a Democrat party, a uniparty, basically,
Yep.
and then a couple of Republicans. And now we have a more unified party. Uh,
More. Hmm.
yeah, more unified party.
We've still got to purge some rhinos.
Oh, we
It's
do.
is it Bongino that used to say all of the Democrats are Democrats and most of the Republicans are Democrats too.
Right,
Um,
right.
but
And we
yeah,
got
I mean,
starting right here in Texas, we gotta get rid of this Cornyn guy.
yeah. So, my political consciousness begins around Reagan's first term. And I mean, I remember watching a State of the Union with Reagan where, do you remember the plane crash in it was DC, I think, and it went into the frozen
Yeah,
lake, and he had a guy that just like ran in, jumped off the bridge, and went out and rescued a lady that was in the water. I mean, it was like below freezing.
Yeah.
And he said, let's appreciate and acknowledge this brave hero for our country. And the State of the Union has always had these feel good moments where it's like, hey, can we just all agree that saving someone from dying is good? No, Democrats are like, no, won't cheer for that. So if you want to completely alienate the American public, then just sit on your butts while there's a cancer survivor, that a minority that's being hugged and applauded by Trump, or any number of those examples is like, oh, I love it. Just keep showing the American people how out of touch you are.
Yep. The young lady that got, I don't know her name, but she got hit in the face by the volleyball from
Yeah.
the trans person. The Lake and Riley family,
Hmm.
Corey Compatour's family was
Yeah.
there, and not a single, you know,
Yeah.
respect towards any of that, regardless of who the president is. Respect towards any of those issues. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's disgusting to me still, that Corey Camperatore, that yeah, he would be Saint Corey if he was on the left. And
Oh,
there would have
yes.
been movies and documentaries
Yes.
and nonstop tributes. But because he was not of your party, he can die. They don't care.
Exactly. Well, Dave, I'm out of clips, so I
Yeah,
guess we're out of show. But this will be our first of many. Thanks for joining, and
absolutely.
we will see everybody next time on the Right Pod Rising. Thanks,
Absolutely. Thank you. Have a good one.
no doubt.
What